Save more and more only at Builder's Paradise. Don't miss out. Start building your rewards today with Value Club at Builder's Paradise, because every bolt, board, and brush brings you closer to bigger, better savings. Terms and conditions apply.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Thought That Get Results. I am Webbo Herbert, and as per usual, we are here every Tuesday evening with something that at least we think is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to a Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown in Nevis, or give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You have a question or a comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you're well organized, and when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards, but we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us, your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. You can also follow our live video stream of this program on our YouTube channel, Vaughan Radio. Click subscribe, our Facebook page at Vaughan Radio. Thank you all again for joining us, your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. Tonight, the Honorable Spencer Brand, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and a very pleasant good evening to my fellow panelists around the table tonight. Let me say good evening to your hard-working staff here at Vaughan Radio. Good evening to all those who are listening, those who are here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, those who are further afield throughout the various Caribbean islands, certainly those who are listening to us up in North America, Europe, as far away as Taiwan, wherever they may be. Let me say a very pleasant good evening to them. Webbo, I want to, first of all, thank you for the invitation, and I want to take this opportunity to offer my very deepest condolences to all those families who may be in mourning tonight, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a friend, a colleague, or just an acquaintance. I hope that they will remember or be remembered fondly. I know that we have the Jamaican community here who a little bit down tonight because of the devastation that would have besieged their country. I want to say to them a very pleasant good evening. We are with you. We will stand with you. We also have some as well in Haiti, Cuba, and the devastation that we would have seen over the past few days is indeed very troubling. But I just want to say to all those who are suffering from that very powerful, some are saying the most powerful hurricane ever recorded, we are hoping that they can be in a good spirit tonight, even if they can just listen to us and be distracted a bit for the next 2 hours. We are hoping that we can do that. Webbo, I want to say to those who are celebrating, whether it's a birthday or wedding anniversary, tonight or during the course of this week, I hope that they will have a wonderful, wonderful celebration. And I also hope that they can reflect and give our Creator the thanks and the praise for allowing them to see another celebration, whether it's of their birth or of their anniversary or just some accomplishment in their life. I hope that they are having a wonderful evening tonight. Webbo, once again, thank you for the invitation, and I am indeed looking forward to tonight's discussion.
Conrad Nile Liebert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to your staff here at the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughan Radio. To my colleagues around the table, good evening to you guys, and to all my friends, and otherwise in the international circle, my brethren in Connecticut and Florida, friends in Toronto, always in tune to this program. I welcome you once again. Webbo, yes, I say hail up to the Jamaican community here in Ireland, and we just want them to know that we are in some way concerned about their loved ones at home, and I think that we should be as one people across the Caribbean. Webbo, certainly we are coming to the end of another beautiful day here in the paradise island of Nevis. However, we seem to be at a critical junction. As Mr. Stanley usually says, it's a time when church sermon becomes political, and it's a time when politics become church sermons, and so it's an ongoing conversation. It's an ongoing intercourse with each other. It's an ongoing question and answer, and I think it's very healthy. And so, Webbo, as I said before, we're coming to the end of a beautiful day in the Paradise Island. The question is whether or not it will remain paradise for Nevisians, and of course, it can be paradise for other people as well. But at the same time, Webbo, we want to know that these other peoples, whether from the Caribbean region or elsewhere, in compliance with our culture, expectations, behavior, morals, and etiquette, and so on. The things that make us Nevisians, that make us a good, caring and loving people here on this little island. We both want to say thank you once again for inviting me on this program, and I do look forward to a healthy discussion this evening, Webbo. Thank you so much.
Roger Fifield, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Of course, a special good evening to all those who are listening and viewing via the various mediums. We welcome you once again this Tuesday, the 4th of November. We hope that you would have a wonderful program. Webbo, to those who are hospitalized at this time, I want to say a special good evening to you. Hope that you would recover the soonest. And for those who are bereaved, we lend your support. We continue to pray for you as we pray for each other. And I remind you that God is the ultimate answer. Allow Him to be your rock, your strength, as you go through this most difficult time. Webbo, unto those who might be celebrating, whether it's a birthday or anniversary, it's a special happy birthday and happy anniversary to you. Just want to shout out two persons, the King Flamingo, who would have celebrated yesterday. A special good night to you, King. Hope that you had a wonderful time, and knowing you, you might very well be celebrating still. And we move from one king to another king. Webbo, it's the King Hollywood's birthday tomorrow, so I want to wish the king a happy birthday. Hope that he would have a wonderful day tomorrow. Webbo, there are lots of things that's going on and went on, of course. Those who were affected in Jamaica by the passing of Hurricane Melissa, we continue to pray for you, as we are a Christian society, and from old we would have been praying for each other, so we ask for persons here and around the Caribbean in the diaspora to continue to pray for those who are affected. Webbo, there were some 1.5 to 1.6 million persons affected in Jamaica in some way, and as of yesterday there were 32 deaths and 359,000 people in need of food, medical, etc. And of course, this is according to news.un.org. And we must continue to pray for those also in Cuba and Haiti. Haiti, thus far, would have had 24 deaths, 18 persons missing, and this is according to the Haiti Times. And of course, there are a number of persons who were affected in Cuba, as I said earlier on. So we must continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in the affected countries, as you know, we would have wanted them to pray for us had we been affected. Webbo, the primary school football, is coming to a close here in Nevis. We would have seen the semi-finals last Sunday at the E.T. Willett Park. Two wonderful games. The Charlestown Primary School came up against the St. Thomas's Primary School, and the St. Thomas's Primary School would have come out victorious over the Charlestown Primary School, 3-0. And then the match after that, we had the Ivor Walters Primary School came up against the Joycelyn Nywood Primary School, and it was a really good, intriguing match. It was tense. It was, it lived up to expectation. Some pundits said that would have made a good finals. In the end, the Joycelyn Nywood Primary School walked with the champions, beating the Ivor Walters Primary School 1-0. So this coming Sunday, we would see playing for third place the Charlestown Primary and the Ivor Walters Primary School. They would be playing for third place, and the St. Thomas's Primary School will be coming up against the Joycelyn Nywood Primary School for the championship. Now, what I recognize, Webbo, is that a number of persons, have been going to the park to support the primary school children, their football matches. And I want to mention this as we are now seeing the commencement of the secondary school championships, the secondary school netball championships that would have started earlier today, and the secondary school football championship is slated to start on Friday this week. And Webbo, what I'm really hoping is that the high school students, they would get the same level of support. The spectators, the families, the crowd, the supporters of the schools, the various schools, and the general public on a whole would go out and support, show the support, lend the support. All of them are children. It's children, I think, that goes to school, albeit that there's a primary school level, and of course there is a secondary school level. So I'm hoping that persons, would go out and support the secondary school also, because I know that this coming Sunday is going to be a real bumper crowd. Webbo, I want to encourage persons, to call in, share their views, ask questions. We can learn something from you. You can learn something from us, of course, as this is an interactive program. And of course, I'm looking forward for a fruitful discussion. Webbo, once again, thank you very much.
Let me just say good night to Ted Hobson. Good night. No long speech or anything. Good night, Ted. And I met a fellow today. He was one of Edric's greatest fans. Not today, yesterday. And we had a good chat down memory lane about Edric. And I'm a fella, if I believe in you, I believe in you, working with you. So ain't nobody gonna tell me Edric in here now must stop talking about Edric. I'll talk until, such time. So, Ted, good evening, and all the other folks who have contributed before. Now, Roger, you said that we got a lot of stuff to deal with, and as usual, go right ahead. And I have some stuff to deal with too, but mine is heavy metal stuff. And I want to begin where I ended last week by saying, keep the debate going. I'm listening and I'm making notes. So, what we got?
Well, before we jump into, as you call it, the heavy metal stuff, I just wanted to pick up a bit from where Roger left off in terms of the primary school football championship. I want to commend Webbo, the organizers, and all of the persons who, in my mind, did everything in their power to make sure that those games were played on Sunday. We all know that there was this heavy shower that came down, and I sat there in the pavilion and I wondered really if these games were going to be played. I saw persons, what looks to me like they were actually mapping up the field and so on and things like that. So I really want to commend the teachers, the officials, the children. I thought that the children may have played the game, especially in the first game, somewhat a little cautious because the field was extremely wet. But I think that they were able to get through both games, and I am happy about that. There wasn't really any incident of any injury or something, because I was a bit concerned about the actual field, the play area, and whether they were able to actually take the field. But I'm really happy that they were able to. I thought, just like Roger, I thought that there were two wonderful games. I was not necessarily too happy about the result of the first game, but I want to congratulate, of course, the St. Thomas's Primary School. I said to someone that Charleston Primary School was really outplayed on the first game, and I thought that the second game between the Joycelyn Liburd Primary and the Ivor Walters was a game that, in my mind, could have gone either way. But I think that the Joycelyn Liburd Primary was able to get the better of the Ivor Walters. Well, I also want to encourage our people to remember that what the Ministry of Education and the Football Association is trying to do here is to expose our young people, and hopefully that someone can spot these talent. I know that sometimes those who are on the line side can get a bit overly excited, and I think that oftentimes, the supporters can, rightly at times become a bit raucous, but I want them to remember that it's a game where our children are involved. I want them to go and give their support as much as they can, but I also want them to remember that it's a game where our children are involved, and I hope that they can continue to give the support. Webbo, I would allow you now to, as you put it, put the heavy metal stuff on the table, and we can probably continue from there.
No, before you ask of him to do that, I would also like to congratulate the youths them who come to the El Camino Willett Park and played so heartily and ardently for their for their school, and the general atmosphere that comes on is quite great. I passed by on Sunday, but I didn't stop, and I realized there was almost like a bumper crowd, and I like to see that. Just the other day, I was working in an area, and I saw one of our great netballers, and I said to her, "What's going on with the netball?" And I said to her, I could remember when there were branches and galvanized surrounding the netball fields. I mean, the crowd used to be massive and so vibrant, and now we have a better place. You don't see much of that. I really like to see competitiveness. I really like to see the youths come out, and not just their parents, just fans, having a good time on the outdoor. I say all that, but what I really wanted to say is I wanted to talk about facility sometimes. And of course, we all know that the El Camino Willett Park is a park that I have not really had much of an attention for a long time. And I would like to ask humbly that some attention be paid, from a government point of view, in terms of improving the facility at the park. Of course, it goes without saying, and I don't want to always sound like I'm critical of things. I hope it's a positive criticism that we can improve on the park in some ways, because to be quite honest with you, I am not quite ready to call it El Camino Willett Park until the park have gotten its facelift, its improvement that is worthy to put his name to. I sometimes always make a mistake and say Grove Park, because of course I go there and it's the same things I've been seeing from since I was a kid. But one thing in particular with the sports, the kids sports, and I realized that last year, and I hope it's not the case this year, and maybe it's the case this year. And I speak to the facilities, you know, the goal post. I mean, I'm just like that. I will go to the park to watch a football match, but I'm looking at all kind of stuff. I'll sit down in front of the television to look at a movie, and I'll be telling my companion, hey, look at that furniture in the house, you know, because I don't know, these things tend to get my attention. And one thing that got my attention at the Grove Park is the goal post. The goal post that is painted, but brown.
Yeah, kind of darkish color.
Yeah, that's not the real color for a goal post. Two, whoever made the goalposts have made the goalposts out of tubing, square tubing. Nowhere in the world you see a goalpost that's made of square tubing, square anything. A goalpost must be round for safety, to prevent collision that, you know, that will probably, you know, the sharp edge of the post. It's always round, you know. Another thing, whoever made the goalpost made it out of such slender material that it's all bent up and so forth. I think that we can do better, and we must strive to do better. And these things are of great concern to me, you know, because you come to a park which you see so many people come out to see their kids, but the goalpost is all bent up. The goalpost is made of square tubing, something that is far too slender. And again, I hate to hear myself being that critical of things, but I think sometimes this will tend to elevate the standards in which we allow things to happen here in Nevis, just to make it look more professional, make it look better, take time out, and one, makes the kids safe by putting a round pipe for the goalpost. Two, painting the proper color, because it's still painted in metal primer. Three, make it's of such quality that it doesn't look bended and crooked. And little things like that, you know, whoever in charge should really be mindful of these things, because if we don't keep the standards, then everything, we will simply just accept mediocrity, and it's not good, you know. And I hope I'm not really offending anyone at all. I'm so happy to see the games are happening and people are excited about it. But I'm just that type of person who, when as I say, if I look at the television, looking at a movie, I'll be looking at the furniture in the house and all kind of different things. I suppose mentally inclined to look at other things. And so I just want to ring that bell. Over to you.
Naya, I was in the park on Sunday, and unless my eyes were deceiving me, it appears to me that the goalpost was actually of circular metal. But we can look and confirm that. I agree with you that the painting was of a dark color. You say metal primer. I feel that that's an easy fix.
Easy fix, yes.
I think, though, however, that the goal posts that were being used, they were not necessarily the goal posts for what I would call like the adults. If you notice that the goal post was a little smaller than what it normally would be for the senior players. Okay. So, but from what I saw, it appears to me that the metal were actually of circular, but we can confirm that. In terms of the E.T. Willett Park upgrade, we have wrestled with this matter for some time. I know that we have looked at different concepts. I know that we have looked at different possibilities. I also feel that where the E.T. Willett Park is now, and where our main sporting of cricket is, perhaps I think that 80 Willett Park can turn into a nice small, medium type facility. The T20s, that kind of, we are now seeing a re-emergence of Leeward Island and regional cricket. We are hoping that that can continue. I believe that from the history would show that once Leeward Island cricket is strong, then West Indies cricket is strong. We have had a very rich culture in the Leewards where we are able to, from the Leeward Islands players, dominate world cricket. So I think that, in my humble estimation, I feel that if Leeward Island cricket is on the rebound and get to that level again, I feel that West Indies cricket can benefit from that. But I think that the 80 Willett Park, the idea of what to actually do with it in terms of the scope of it, I feel that it can be something, a nice, intimate, medium, small to medium size facility where you can cater a lot of those T20s type games and so on and so forth. I don't think that we are going to be seeing any more test cricket coming around in these parts anytime soon, right? So I feel that what we can create at 80 Willett Park, it will have to take some creativity. You know, you have some limited space there where you would need to do what you need to do. I think that we have the Villa ground, all of that, perhaps some of that can be incorporated. But there have been some ideas knocking around in terms of what to do with it. I have seen, for example, in Antigua, they would have moved they would have abandoned, so to speak, the ARG. And the ARG is a facility, in my mind, that have had world records, significant history, a rich history. And they would have, of course, created the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. But I think that Nevis can maintain that uniqueness, similar to what they would have done in St. Kitts, to create. We have a lot of history there as well at the 80 Willett Park. And I think that we can maintain that and capture it. But I think that it would take some creativity, because, you know, you're very tight for space. Now, I feel that as an island that is seeking to elevate our sports, both on the male and the female side, you spoke about the netball. You are correct. The netball, I believe that they actually had a game today. A netball game there at the Grell Hall Stevens Stadium. So I think that there can be and there ought to be some attempt to try and bring back what you and I know used to be bumper crowds there at that facility when it comes to netball. But in terms of cricket, in terms of 80 Willett Park, you are not going to be getting any argument from me to see that that's a facility that ought to see some significant upgrades, some significant development, and it can be done as a nice, unique, special place, because I think events such as these can bring out the numbers for where you can have quite a lot of persons enjoying themselves right there.
Yeah. Mr. Brand, as you spoke to Leeward Islands cricket, they just concluded in St. Kitts recently. I think that a number of our players did well.
Remarkably well.
Well enough. I think that the young captain, Carlin Tuckett-Bowen, he would have made a century. I also think that Colin Archibald Jr., he would have also made a century. I am not 100% sure if Russ Powell made a century, but he would have done well. He would have made at least a half century or two. As I said, I'm not sure if he made a century. I think too that young Cornelius, the opening bat, he would have made a half century. And also young Shelton Fobbs, who we saw played for the Leeward Islands, I think was earlier this year or last year. He managed to get one match, and in that one match he made a half century, but was unfortunately left out because the quote unquote the overseas players, so to speak, these more senior players came back into the team. So I think that, the cricket in Nevis is, somewhat on the rebound. We didn't place first, but I think that it is somewhat on the rebound. In St. Kitts, we see Mackay Louis, he's making a statement.
You've had what, 3 centuries, 4 centuries?
4 consecutive centuries.
Back to back,
yes. 3 in the one days and 1 in the 2-day match. And I believe that that's the way to go. You would have played for the West Indies, you come back in this level of cricket, and you ought to dominate and show your dominance at this level. And he did exactly that, and I'm hoping that he can take it, into the regional championships and, get back his place on the West Indies team. And I'm seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. I think that young Tuckett, I think that he's one to keep an eye on. I think that he has the temperament, of playing Test cricket. I believe, from what I would have seen of him.
He also made a century.
Yes, of course. Young Shelton Fobstow, I think that he put me somewhat in the mind of a Shanjapal, who likes to bat long. So these are, a few of the youngsters that we probably would see, in years to come, hopefully, and of course all of the others. I'm hoping that they could, stick a claim, put a claim there. When they do that, as you would have said, Mr. Brand, Leeward Islands cricket strong, West Indies cricket strong. We would have had so many Leeward Islanders on the West Indies team in yesteryear, and the West Indies team was really doing well. So I'm really hoping that we could continue the upward trajectory.
But what if the people at the zone are able to vote? Or what if the people who have bought their passport are able to vote? What would be the consequence of that as it relates to the proposed investment? Yes, sir.
I think you can correct me, but what I would say, even if there is no SSZ, you are a citizen, you hold a St. Kitts Nevis passport, and you would have got the same right. They would get the same right as you and I. So even without the zone, so I'm not sure. But the simple point I am making, wherever these citizens are in the world today, if for some reason they say, look, we have the right to live in St. Kitts Nevis, we are all coming to St. Kitts Nevis to live. I mean, can we turn them back? Can we say that they cannot vote in our electoral process? So even without the SSZ, I mean, just forget about the SSZ just for a moment. And is this possible?
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you know that we have been selling citizenship for the last
41 years.
How many years?
41.
Right? And from recent pronunciations, we have heard that there may be up to 50 plus persons.
50 plus thousand.
50 plus thousand persons with, thanks for the correction, Roger, with St. Kitts and Nevis passport. As you and I are sitting here tonight, there is nothing to prohibit those 50 plus thousand persons to descend on the shores of St. Kitts and Nevis and register to vote. There is nothing there to prevent them from banding themselves together and put their names on our electoral ballot and do what you and I have done and appeal to the masses and say to the masses that these are what we are proposing. There is nothing there to prohibit them, as you and I are sitting here tonight. I feel that we have been, I believe that the SSV has perhaps highlighted that phenomenon where there has been the concern of 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 people, whatever the figure will end up to be, in an area and are allowed to vote. Now, let me say to you, Naya, and to the listeners, we have in our various discussions indicated that that is not something that we are minded to accede to in terms of them having the right to vote. They have made their proposal, they have made their request. We have not, as we are sitting here tonight, signed any agreement. We are still in certain negotiation. And when it comes to certain things, such as the possibility of them having access to our electoral system, from where I sit and from where I know, that is a non-negotiable point.
It's non-negotiable?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mr. Webbo, and the panelists there.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here trying to figure out if I should worry about 500 people that's supposed to be coming to Nevis, or worry about 100 people that is in Nevis.
Your mic is on, Mr. Brand. You don't understand.
Well,
the gentleman to if you could clarify.
Yes, he said 500 coming to versus 100 that is already here.
That's correct.
I call it, that's a very interesting analysis, and that is what I was trying to allude to Naya. That
No, but it seems as if you guys want us to worry about the 50,000 or the in opposed to the 10,000 that's coming here.
that we want you to worry about the 50,000 that is out there.
That who could come in
Yes.
opposed to those that gonna be here.
Carla, can I say something, Carla? I think I understand where you're coming from, Carla, and when Naya spoke to the SSZ and the persons and the voting right, I said to him, as it is now, even without the SSZ, the persons who have citizenship by investment, they can come and they can vote just like all of us here who are Nivisions and Kittitians. Now, I as I said, I understand what you are saying, but from what I understand from Mr. Brand tonight, who is a member of the NIA, that no agreement has been signed. Now, I know that...
I understand from the premier we're going to have 10,000 people coming in and the zone. I mean, I don't know about any agreement, but I hear that 10,000 people will be coming. Not supposed to be out there, and so, they're supposed to be coming.
Right, but okay, the question is though, and I think that the question that, I would probably, like an answer to, I don't know if someone could answer, are all of these persons, are they citizens of St. Kitts Nevis who will be coming?
Well, that
Obviously
means
not.
not listening to the premier then, because that's what he said.
He said 10,000, 8 to 10 would be coming, but no, they won't all be holders of a St. Kitts
Mr.
Nevis
Brand,
passport.
could you kindly let them know that 8 to 10 was only a starting figure?
Well, those were some figures. Those are some figures that have been talked about.
Right, but that is not cast in stone.
No.
So it can be 20, 30, 40.
It can be 5 as well.
Right. So it can be 10, 20, 30, 40, and it also can be 5.
Yes.
But you know it will not be 5.
And I don't know that it will be 20.
Right, but you know it will not be 5.
Not necessarily.
Oh, so you don't know if it will be 5.
It can be more than 5.
You want me to prove to you that it will be more than 5?
It can be more than 5. And
Now, walk with me.
Yes, go ahead.
Because you're not sure. You want me to prove to you that it will be more than 5?
No, because Webbo, we have been talking about up to 8 to 10,000 people.
Right, but you said it may be 5.
No. I was using your analogy where you
But
said
that's the danger.
it can go up to 20.
That's the danger of using my thing. You said it could be 5. And I putting it to you that I could prove to you based on information that you gave us that it won't be 5.
Yes, Webbo, because we have been talking about different numbers, 8, 10. Like I said, I was responding to your analysis where you say it could be 20, 30, or 40.
But I didn't say 5.
No, you didn't.
You're the one who said 5.
Yes, I did.
And I can prove to you, so you agree that it won't be 5.
Well, no.
Okay. So it would be at least 10.
It can be at least 10.
Okay. And more. Because the more the merrier, you know. Meaning, based on what we're saying, whatever project it is, the more, anyway. Now you go ahead.
Oh, well, I don't think everyone at the zone would be a holder of a St. Nevis passport. So and of course we have heard about 8, 7, 10, something like that. So you know, one's projection is somewhere within that region, give or take. Personally, an exact figure it's not important to me. But what I've been hearing a lot is that nothing have been signed. But one thing that stands out to me, and I've been thinking about it, nothing have been signed, nothing is certain, nothing is written in stone, but they won't be paying any tax. They won't be paying any tax. Somehow that is an agreement already signed, or an understanding already that have already established itself in some way or the other. I know also in the beginning, I think the Premier made it clear that no, they won't have their own police. The regular police would police the zone as well. And it rings a bell because it makes me wonder why these two areas seems to have been discussed and understood and settled by both parties, investors and government. That one, they won't pay tax, and two, you know, it is really and truly, from my point of view, a libertarian zone, and I don't think much anyone can argue otherwise. A place they've been looking for a very long time. They have found that place here in Nevis, and important to them, one of the fundamental characteristics is that they don't pay tax, they don't like tax. The libertarian movement is the one that highlights individualism, and they put a lot of emphasis on individual freedom, one ableness and willingness and right to do what one feels as an individual, providing it's not affecting the other. And so, of course, the issue of security must be paramount to them. And not just security, but privacy. And so the issue of whether or not the regular police would have policed the zone must have been something that obviously was agreed upon. And it seemed like it has been agreed upon because it's been announced by the Premier. And also, there are people who simply doesn't believe in government restriction, government big government. You know, they don't like to pay tax. They are not tax-paying people, And that puzzles me, because I want to know from now till 100 years if they're over there, they're not going to be paying any tax. I do understand that they want to invest in areas, critical areas, as if they're the government, education, alternative energy, health, infrastructure, seemingly outspending the government. And political power is very important to them too. And of course, if not political power, political influence, which I think they will have a lot of that. I'm not sure how much they can become, find themselves in politics and so forth. But important to them is, one, that they won't be paying any tax. It's not even like, okay, they're going to pay tax for 10 years and then they won't pay tax for 10 years and after that they're going to pay. But they won't be paying any tax. I find it very difficult to really digest that part, really. I think that, as I said, these are tax and the right of that individual, security and privacy is very important. I could remember once upon a time I went to a gathering of people in South London in Brixton Park on a May Day, and that's the first time I've heard of this libertarian movement. Of course, you have some political connotations and so forth. One even can look at it as some kind of political system. But there's great emphasis on the individual. And to be quite honest with you, in that park I see things I never seen before. I see people walking around naked. I see people involved in all types of things, sexual activity, pretty much in the open, that anyone can see. And I'm not lying, you know. I think if maybe you can Google it, May Day, sometime in May, Brixton Park, South London, and I experienced that. But I'm saying, as you mentioned much earlier, we're a Christian society, and I emphasize that the people who we would like to see functional, supporting and supportive of our development should fall within, not in every way, because you cannot individualize people and say you can't come if you're this or that. But of course we have a kind of standard here, a kind of expectation, and to me, yes, if we don't realize it right now, we will soon to realize it as this thing come into effect and start playing out, that we're dealing with a phenomena that can be seriously engulfing in terms of political influence, in terms of a negative realization, because I think our expectations are so high, given all these promises. But also, if you read the legislation, you would realize that they have an obligation for only 10 years to the people of Nevis, you know, in terms of, you know, acting and functioning in a manner that will improve Nevis. And so these are things, to me, sticks out and certainly ring a bell, and looks like we are entering into a type of waters that we probably don't really know the depths of it. And of course, and one thing also, I must say, I've been hearing a lot of talk about this type of democracy and that kind of democracy. This is our democracy here. Is the democracy which we have is the democracy we practice. You know, if we know a parliamentary democracy, we know what it entails. It entails a government that is answerable unto the legislature. And we also know about representative democracy. We know about direct and indirect. And our democracy here, as if we to be critical about it, it's simply the democracy we practice. So if we have a government here that like to consult the people, then you can look at it as a democracy of consultation, representative democracy, indirect democracy, So the idea that we are not sure as to where the island sits in terms of yes or no about this project. I believe that we should really spend time and find out, not to simply say that opportunity is once every 5 years. I don't know what kind of a democracy is that really, but that's not the democracy we expect to be living in. We expect to be living in a democracy where they have consultation with the people, not on every policy, but of course on things that's going to impact the island profoundly, like the zone, But I've been hearing on more than one occasion the kind of democracy we practice here seems to be the one that elected representatives do what they want. Well, that's not the democracy I know, and we want to practice here. We want to practice a democracy that's based on consultation, and of course there's a lot of talk, and people are quick to say that, never in the history of Nevis there is a project that gets so much, we go around and speak to Tom. You speak to Tom, Dick and Harry after the fact, it looks like. And that's been hurried on because you want to have that evidence to say, we talked to Tom, Dick and Harry before things are signed. But it looks like it's a bit after the fact. And to be quite honest with you, in various areas, in the lines of the bank, in the queues of the banks, in the hospital lobby, everywhere is this conversation. And I'm doing my little gauging there as to how much people for and how much against. And we got to really look at it very serious if we are not forcing upon the people something that the majority of the people in this country does not want.
Now, let me try and correct. You have said quite a bit, but let me try and correct what you've been saying. You said that it's a libertarian state.
It's a libertarian zone.
I am here to say to you that the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis will have overriding jurisdiction.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it not a libertarian zone.
Naya, I am saying to you that the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis will have overriding jurisdiction over this development. That's one. You spoke about having their own police or something like that.
But no, I'm not saying that. But can I ask you a question?
No, let me respond to your stuff, and then we can get to your question a little later. You said that they would have their own police.
No, I did not say that, sir.
Regular police, I think you said.
No, I said the Premier have made it clear that the regular police would be the ones who are policing the zone. And I said it strikes me that came out so early. Seems to me that there has been an agreement on that. Even though you guys are saying nothing has been signed, that has been agreed upon.
Naya.
That has been agreed upon, Naya. Number one.
Yeah.
And the fact that there won't be any tax. They won't pay no tax. Those are two things that have been agreed upon.
I will get to the tax matter because I feel that we are getting possibly a wrong impression that a country can only benefit once an entity pays tax. There are other ways in which a company or entity can contribute to the development.
But that's what you guys have been saying all the time.
But I sat and I listened to you. I hope that you will offer me the privilege as well to listen to me, right?
Yes.
In terms of, you said libertarian state, I am saying to you that the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis will have overriding jurisdiction over this particular development.
Yeah.
Our Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court will also have jurisdiction over matters that can be raised on legal grounds. Our Director of Public Prosecution here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis will maintain and will also have the right to prosecute any matters that are brought before our judicial system. So all of those are areas in this proposed document that are, so to speak, enshrined to ensure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis have some overriding jurisdiction over this development. You indicated that they only have a commitment to the people of Nevis for 10 years. I'm not really sure where you get that information or notion from. I think what they have been saying is that the numbers and the information that they have provided to the public, the built out would last approximately 10 years, right? You spoke about no taxes. I want to say to you, Naya, that it is proposed that there will be a 20% profit sharing that will be coming to the government from the activation date until or as long as this development exists, right? That's 20%. There will also be, there has been a proposal.
What do you mean the activation date? From the activation
from
date?
whenever the zone comes into effect.
So there will be profit, 30% of the profit from whenever the zone,
20%.
effect. You mean after the zone is built and start being
right,
functional?
20% of the profit.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
5% also would go to the public, the people of Nevis. And that is a mechanism that I know that they are still working on. That is something that they have proposed. They are offering scholarships for our people, and you know that every year we have a couple hundred, I think it's about 220, 250 children leaving our schools, and we are saying that if we can provide the means for them to get a higher education, we will more than happy to welcome that. We'll take the burden off of their families and the government, and would allow them that. Over the first 5 years, within the first 5 years, there is a proposal, I believe, for about $50 million that would come to help us in terms of various development projects, right? So in terms of no taxes, Naya, I think that there are some significant benefits to the people of Nevis. I think when you think of 20% of profit for the existence of this development,
well, no great certainty in terms of profit sharing. When are going to start making a profit?
Well, Naya, we are making sure that we put the necessary mechanism in place.
Yeah, but that's still pretty vague, because it doesn't
trust,
propose a
we will trust, but we will make sure that the mechanism in place to verify. You know the former president of the United States, Ronald Reagan, said trust but verify.
Yeah.
We will trust, but we will also make sure that the mechanisms are in place to verify. So now, in terms of taxes, I
have a problem with that.
Well, I hear you, but
if I could just butt in, Bran, I think it was at the town hall meeting last week that it came out that the auditors would have the powers to go in and do auditing. So that's a means of
that's
verifying.
what I'm saying to him. We trust but verify.
You guys make me laugh with that, man. Everything is basically up in the air, in terms of, yes, 1 million for education. That is good, but based on profit and profit sharing, that is vague. 50 million over X amount. We are hoping to see these things unfold. And but to me, those shouldn't really represent the passport for having a zone, really. I realize that nothing matters. We wrap it up by simply saying, once it's beneficial to Nevis, we don't care. We don't care about character. We don't care about culture. We don't care about...
Naya, hold on a minute.
Once it's benefit Nevis in a material
Naya,
way...
I am not going to sit here and listen to you say that nothing matters, right?
That's the understanding I get from the town hall meeting.
No. You can say that...
What matters?
That is your understanding. But we as a government, Naya, right, have always been trying to bring development to this country. You have been around this landscape for, I believe, perhaps well over 60 years. You would know that there have been many persons come, many ideas float around, many proposed developments that have not come, that have not bear fruit, right? We are now trying to bring to this country a particular development that we feel will bring some benefit and some development to the island of Nevis, right? We are looking at this, in my humble opinion, as something that can bring substantial and significant development to the island of Nevis. And it is because we do care about the island of Nevis, it is because we do care about the people of Nevis, why we are trying to ensure that we have these conversations, we listen to the people, all kind of things have been said. Naya, you have been, I think I saw you at one of the town halls.
Yeah.
The one you sat, you listen to both sides. Some very nasty things were said, you know, and I think that if we are to perhaps take a step back and look at this, I am not going to tell people that they are not to get emotional. I would perhaps be out of place to say to people not to get emotional, because it is something that is creating great emotional concern for some people. But I think that if we are to look at this for what it is being proposed, look at the pros and cons of it, look at, you know, I was looking at this the other day, as in my project management manual, and if you look at the project management triangle, you know, you have the challenges and you have the benefits and you have those kind of things, and you weigh it and you see what are the challenges, what are the benefits, what are the obstacles, and what are the opportunities that can be created. And I am looking at this development, Naya, as something that can create tremendous opportunities for the people of Nevis and for the people of St. Kitts, right? I am looking at it, Naya, that while
in terms of
while you are saying that there will be no taxes being paid, right? It can create additional opportunities for our people to gain employment, right? And I think that once we have persons who are gainfully employed, that will definitely have a significant spillover in our economy. We can look at the Four Seasons model, Naya. You would know that when Four Seasons came, we had a work week in Nevis from Monday to Friday. Since the Four Seasons came, we now have a work week from Sunday to Sunday. It has brought its positive and it has brought its negative. I remember having a conversation with a former pastor. He's not a pastor anymore. And you know one of the things that he said, you know what Four Seasons did to him and his church? It emptied out his church. You know why? Because according to him, persons who normally go to church on a Sunday was now working on a Sunday. I really never thought about that, right? But I sat back and I looked at a number of persons that I know who used to go, and I said, but wait, Mr. This, so and so is working at Four Seasons. So, Naya, there will be, and I agree with you that it is of concern, and I think that every right thinking Nevision must be and ought to be and should be concerned. They are to look at this, and let me put it this way. I would say to them to try and get as much information as possible. Do not necessarily condemn the idea without having any information. And I think that one of the things that we continue to try and do is to try and give as much information as possible, right? And I keep saying, Naya, that no document has been signed as yet in terms of an agreement. There are still areas that.
But there's an agreement that they won't be they won't be paying any tax.
But there are things. There are
There is
things.
an agreement in that respect.
Nothing has been signed as yet. Now, there are things that we have said, okay, we are comfortable with this, we are not comfortable with this, we can move on to the next bullet point, and that
So
kind
that
of
is
thing.
not settled then.
What
that,
is
that,
not
that
settled?
they won't be paying any tax, because as you say last week, that they won't. I asked that question, and you said they won't be paying any tax. That seems to be settled.
But I am saying to you, Naya, in the absence of paying tax, there are other mechanisms in which...
You've said that. You
Yes.
said that. The question I want to ask: does the idea of not paying tax was the what can I say? Was the impetus from the settlers' point of view?
From the settlers?
Yeah, because they're going to be settlers. Yes.
No.
Okay. From the investors' point of view, was that the impetus? The question I'm asking: if you guys had stick out and say, "Well, sorry, you got to pay tax," you think that would have frustrated them and turn them away?
Maybe not. Anything is possible.
Okay.
You know, I'm
That's
not.
just a question.
I mean, I could understand both, you know, but what I am saying, it appears as if that for some reason there are some that actually believe that an agreement has been signed already. And for those who would think that an agreement has already been signed, I could understand their argument because of what they believe. Now, what we have been told is that nothing has been signed. We were also told that forums such as this and others, the town hall meetings, the press conference, is a medium for feedback so the government can get information. The government can get the feedback from the ordinary man and woman, you know, in Nevis to help to frame and draft an agreement. And I believe that conversations like these is exactly what we want, so we can have an idea of what the masses are saying, what the masses are requesting. Now, what we have to look at realistically also, for the past couple of years, maybe 7-10 years, the CIB program would have been contributing something like 52% to the federal
Budget.
exactly. And we also have to be realistic and recognize that the CBI is on the decline for various reasons. We look back, we recognize maybe 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, what happened to Nevis in terms of the shutdowns and stuff like that. So I am saying, if this proposed investment is an avenue for diversification, then of course it would have those that support, it would have those that do not support. But my question is, why are we, if I can use this term, hell-bent on, you know, saying that the agreement has been already been signed?
Well, I don't think anybody's hell-bent on that. You know, the fact that I've been told and I've heard that
Nobody that you probably would have spoken to.
Yeah? Beg your pardon?
Nobody that you would have spoken to.
What?
Because there are many persons
when
that
it's been said, if the agreement haven't been signed, it haven't been signed. I could agree with that.
Do you believe that the agreement has not been signed?
Yes, I totally believe the agreement have been signed, but to me,
Have been signed or have not been
have
signed?
not been signed.
Okay.
But to me, there are certain things that have been agreed upon, like the issue of tax. They won't be paying any tax. Okay, 1, 2, and the policing, security. Of course, they probably have their own security in some way or the other. But the regular police that roam Charlestown, the Premier came on and said those would be the police that roam the zone.
These
two issues seems to me seems to be in the forefront of the investors' mind, you know, and it makes me wonder why. And it looks like an agreement has been reached on these two issues.
Now, what I can say about police and policing, that falls under the federal government.
Well, yes.
And Mr. Brand, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not that this proposed agreement would be signed with the NIA and the proposed investors?
The federal government will also have to be a party, because there are certain, let's say for example, the matter of the application for citizenship. The island of Nevis does not have any standing to grant anybody citizenship. That is one of the parameters where the federal government now comes into play. You spoke about the police. The Nevis Island administration does not have any oversight over the police. Again, the federal government will have to get involved in terms of that particular matter. The director of public prosecution is another federal matter. Customs is another federal matter. So,
put simple,
right? There are components of this agreement and development that definitely would need the involvement of the federal government, because just by the nature of the constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, and just by the nature of how there are certain areas that the island of Nevis does not have control over.
Basically,
okay,
simple.
Gentlemen, let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mr. Webbo. I am not sure, but if I'm living in Nevis, our next place. But I've been hearing about this proposed zone. Only persons I hear speak about agreement being signed, yes or not, is the federal government or the Nevis Island of government. I never hear nobody else talking about any signed agreement. So I don't know where the guy that get this people believe that agreement signed. 'Cause I never heard anybody saying anything about any agreement signed other than the guy on the panel and the government.
Caller,
Whether he signed yes or not.
Caller, can I just say something?
No problem.
I appreciate that is what you would have heard, but what I am saying, that I would have heard persons saying that the agreement would have already signed and it is a done deal. That is what I would have heard from some aspect or some part of some persons in the society.
But,
so if you haven't heard that,
you would
that's
agree,
fine.
But you would agree, though, Roger, in anything, somebody always throwing something in the mix.
Of course.
Even just for fun.
Of course.
Well,
okay.
Well, I am here to say to you, Roger, that the agreement for the proposed Destiny development has not been signed by the Nevis Island administration. Right? And this is a development that has been proposed on the island of Nevis to the people of Nevis. And the government that I am a part of has not signed that document.
So put simple then, basically, there can be no zone in St. Kitts or in Nevis until the Prime Minister signed off on it. Is that a correct statement? There can be no zone in St. Kitts or Nevis unless the Prime Minister signs off on it.
For the island of Nevis, yes, and for the island of St. Kitts without the involvement of the Premier of Nevis. That's a correct
a correct statement. Okay.
And again, Naya, it is correct because of the very nature of the proposed development. You're talking about matters of police, security, citizenship, those kind of things. Nevis does not have any standing in dealing with those matters.
Borders.
Right? Those are matters that are dealt at the federal level. And I've heard some persons make the argument, well, why did the SSZ zone have to be passed at the federal Parliament, and it goes back to what I've just outlined. Citizenship, border, police, customs, immigration, all of that. All of those are matters that are dealt with at the federal level, and the place, that the only place for that legislation to have been dealt with was at the federal level.
So, institutions like Four Seasons, it doesn't entail all those things you're just talking about.
Yeah, but Four Seasons did not. Four Seasons came as just what I would call a hotel development.
So what this is?
What that is?
Well, what are we dealing with? A zone. Okay?
It's a special sustainability zone.
Special sustainability zone. It's not absolutely wrong to say that we are dealing with a state within a state. It's not absolutely wrong to say. There is some truth about that in this special sustainability zone.
On what basis you are saying we are dealing with a state within a state?
Because of, for instance, the bylaws after ratification by the island administration and the federal government going to be made into laws. They're going to be a part of the volume of
Now, let me just take this. I'm going to come back to you. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Webbo. And good evening to your panel.
Good evening.
Webbo, I would like to find out, these people who plan to come here to have this proposed sustainable zone, have they been buying up other lands anywhere else in Nevis other than over in the southeast? And do Minister Brand knows exactly how much land other than the zone proposed area they have purchased so far?
Well, I'm happy the caller asked that question, because I believe that it was just today's Tuesday. I believe it was on Saturday where someone confronted me and said to me that these people are buying up lands all over Nevis, and the zone is not only going to be over on the south side, it's going to be in different pockets of Nevis. Well, but let me try and be as clear as I possibly can. The developers are allowing individuals certain options. One, the developers are proposing to persons who own land in the area if they are willing to sell outright. That's one. Two,
If they are willing to do what?
I'm getting to, I'm answering your question. Two, the developers are also saying to persons that, listen, if it is that you do not want to part ways with land, and I'm putting land in inverted commas, right? You have land in the area that they are interested in. They are also saying to you, if you are adamant that you need to hold on to land, they are willing to perhaps swap a piece of land for you in other parts of Nevis. So that is why there have been some inquiries by the developers in different parts of Nevis to acquire different tracts of land to swap to those persons who do not necessarily or intend to part with their land but are willing to take land in a different location of Nevis. I will go a bit further. Yeah.
Not cutting you off, Mr. Band. So are you saying we are going to wait until find out from these people if they are going to do that, and then look for land to buy for them?
No. They have been making inquiries all over Nevis to try and find other tracts of land. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what I need to find out is investors have purchased any land in Nevis specifically for that purpose.
I am not aware that they have, but I know that there have been some inquiries made other parts of Nevis for other lands.
And what I can say, caller, if you are there.
Hold a second there, Roger. I also want to say to the caller that they are also offering for persons who, let's say for example, you have 1 acre in the area. They are willing to offer as a swap 1.5 acres at a different location on the island of Nevis.
So that's what I'm saying. So where are they going to get that different location from?
But they have been making inquiries,
That sounds like a joke. That sounds like a joke.
It sounds like, well,
Yeah, that sounds like a joke. That sounds like a joke.
Carla, can
I mean, we gotta look about this is a small country,
yes.
and we have to look in the future. If this look like it's some kind of quick fix, we have to think about the future, about our children, and our children's children. Where are they going to get land to live in the country of their birth in years to come? I mean, I have serious concerns when it comes to that. That's my concern.
I hear you, and I respect that, and that is
Okay.
that is in my mind a valid,
I'm going to listen half it.
and that is of course a valid
Okay, caller.
concern that you have the right to have.
I just wanted to say, but I recognize the caller. He has gone. But what I wanted to say is that land swap is nothing new on the island of Nevis. I also wanted to say, I think that what Brand would have said, that the proposed investors are looking around for possible lands to buy outside of the proposed zone in the event that persons who have lands in the proposed zone want to swap. Now, I believe that it would be ill-advised for anyone to just go and buy land, for an investor to just go and buy land outside of the zone. Why I'm saying that? If I have piece of land inside the zone and I decide I want to hold on to land and not sell, you now can't tell me that you're going to give me from my acre, you're going to give me 1.5 acres in Newcastle when I do not want land in Newcastle. I may want it in Gingerland. So, to me, you just can't go and just say, well, maybe they should buy or what have you. Now, to the question of, land for future generation, I don't know if I understand you correctly, but if there is 100 acres on the southeast, I'm just using a figure, right? And then 10 acres are to be swapped elsewhere. Now it's just the very same. Persons outside of the zone have signs erect, and if you drive around the island, you would see land for sale. So, if these persons on the southeast currently are Nevisians, and they are going to get a piece of the rock elsewhere, are they not the same? Are they not Nevisians still getting a piece of the rock elsewhere instead of on the southeast? Bearing in mind that whatever acreage on the southeast coast is the same acreage that is going to be used and no more for the particular development.
I wanted to ask you, Mr. Brand,
Sure.
about the bylaws.
Let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening. This is Mavis Paris calling in. I want to bring another aspect into this as divisions. The sustainable zone will be a bunch of investors who are citizens. We are narrowing our thinking when we think that as divisions we cannot become billionaires, or our children can't become billionaires. We have AI on stream. We have YouTube. If we look around and we really investigate, we are going to see about all these new millionaires available. If you meet the criteria of the persons operating and owning the zone, you can invest in the zone also as a citizen. You are not going to be shut out of investing in the zone once you are in that economic bracket. And maybe it is time that we challenge our children to think further than Nevis and to think about investment and to think about getting involved in social media, YouTube, which is very lucrative, in AI, which is very lucrative, and computer espionage. So these are things that we need to challenge our children to stop thinking about police, doctors, nurses, lawyers. Every year, everybody wants to become accountant and lawyers. So if we challenge our children to become investors, they too can become a part of that zone. Another thing, let's talk about Four Seasons. When Four Seasons came on stream, it was not a citizenship program. So then you don't have a state within a state when you have Four Seasons. It was just some investors, and they were hiring employees from within the island and from abroad. And Four Seasons at one point, they used to have their work permit. So that was the system for Four Seasons. Now for this zone, we are telling that these billionaires are coming. They are going to invest. They are going to own a part of that rock. They cannot stop us from accessing some of the things. So if they have a disco, there are some nights that they can say, okay, don't come, we have a private event. But there is not one part within the zone at any point in time that they're going to say and can say to Nivision, don't come at all.
You're not sure about that, Carla.
Well,
you could be dead wrong about
This
that.
facility
Carla,
is open
You could be
for
dead
us
wrong
to
about
use.
that. You could
They'll
be,
be hiring us, some of us going to be their maids, some of us going to be their waiters.
yeah. Well,
Don't you
I
understand?
thought we were talking about people with doctorate and so forth getting jobs and coming back to Nevis with doctorate to work in the zone and all that type of stuff.
Yes,
some of us,
that is a
Absolute
possibility,
rubbish.
but you know, and let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. Like around them. You have to have what they want. If you don't have what they want, and I don't think government will be there to mandate that they must hire 1,500 divisions or it's not in operation. And until they get down to nitty-gritty like that. But if their desire is not what we can supply,
Don't forget we're living in a technological advanced world, you know. A lot of things are virtual, you know. This great bunch of employment that people thinking about, yes, they're going to have gardeners and waitress and homekeepers and all them type of stuff. But in management, I mean, who's leaving the state to come home with doctorate to come and talk about, you know what I mean? They're going to be equipped with modern, I suppose, with the kind of money I hear they're talking about, modern technology and everything pretty much.
We will be able to have doctors and lawyers and teachers and all of that working in the zone as well. So I don't want us to limit our expectations.
No, I cannot be convinced on that.
Let me get this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good night, Webber, and good night to the panelists there. I'm here listening to the program, calling from thinking.
Good night, good night.
Now, Webber, I'm listening to the program, right, and I hear about this land zone, and I want to know that if one half gonna be for the economical investors that will come in. So Nevis gonna cut in half, and the next half for the Nevis generation. What about the younger generation to come? And then the people who these land, we just sell the land to the developers them. What about the people who will come? I mean, the generation will come, young people will come and want to develop. You know, I want to invest big like them same investors will come in and invest. So we want to tell me, our small people can't invest too? This zone thing, it's all mixed up. I don't want to entertain it at all. Nothing wrong if you bring in investors, maybe to build a hotel, because people to get work. But when you're going to bring in a zone of area, like you're cutting the country in half. So half for foreigners and half for the Nivijan. I don't support that at all. Anyway, wonderful program. Every week I listen about and calling as much now.
All right, thank you. We appreciate it.
To hear your voice.
Can I chime in here? Now, assuming Naya you were born in Nevis, and assuming, Mr. Brent, that you were born in Nevis, if both of you were born in Nevis and both of you became billionaires, and both of you decided that you want to do business in a zone such as this, and you want to buy or purchase similar amount of lands, I am really wondering if the narrative would have been the same.
Well, first you probably got to think about if there are going to be enough land, such lands. We have a land crisis here, you know.
No, but
do you know we already have a land crisis in Nevis?
Follow me now. If
do we have a land crisis now?
Yes.
How you how
people find it difficult to find land, to buy affordable land.
But Naya,
people find it difficult to buy affordable lands.
I believe that coming out of the town hall meeting, I think that up to that point, I think was 1,400 acres would have already been acquired. Or let me just put it as Minister Evelyn said, about 68%. I think I might be a little safer. That was said after. So what I'm saying, if you and Mr. Brand were to make a proposal to the government as Nevisians who are born here, and you want to establish a zone or business in a zone, would you still have that same narrative? I'm just asking.
What narrative?
About maybe there's no land for other Nevisians. There are no lands.
There can be always a consideration if you're true-hearted Nevisians at times. Yes, there are generations to come. You know, just the people in Basga, people not got no land. They cannot expand left, right, now, center. You understand? And they're going to have offsprings. You know, we have an influx of people here as workers. As time passes, they become citizens of Nevis. They want land to buy too.
Now, if you're going to bring that argument, I am going to say, if you look up just up the road, you know, a few years ago there was no Cherry Garden, and who live in Cherry Garden now? People from Gingerland, people from St. Thomas's, people from St. James's, people from St. Paul's, people from St. John's.
And soon
we'll look at the housing project in New River. When I was a boy growing up, you know, is some older persons who used to work those lands. No housing was down there. So what I am saying is that if you spoke to Barnsgott, now if there are no way or farm to expand the housing stock in Barnsgott, I mean, you must find other places on Nevis. It's just that places that were undeveloped would now become more developed.
Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening. This is Livingstone Williams, aka Stoneman. These gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hello?
Good evening, good evening.
Yes, go ahead, Living.
Yeah. These gentlemen are under a fairy tale fallacy of what is going to happen. Because I negotiated with these so-called investors. And I was told that this Janssen, or whoever his name is, the Belgian guy, wants to establish his home and surround himself with family and friends. Nothing about no business. They are making it up as they go along to try to fool people. That's my contribution tonight. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Byrne.
Naya was saying and that there is a shortage of land. I think I heard it.
Well, I've heard that from the government a lot. I heard that from you guys a lot. It's difficult to get land to build stocks of homes. You know, your government is working hard and find it difficult to get land.
And why is that?
Well, because the crisis is a land shortage, put it that way.
No.
Let me take this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening, Webbo. Good evening to your panelists.
Good evening.
Mr. Brown, I'd like to ask a question. that I think might help people understand a little bit better. Do you know, or can you tell us where we can go to find out exactly where the zone is, where it starts, where it stops? Is there a map that exists someplace?
There is, and I'm going to go back to what I said earlier.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening earlier.
Okay. In the activation of the zone, the developers will have to provide to the government the area that they would like to have designated as the sustainability zone. As I sit here, I don't believe that that area has been finalized as yet, because there, from what we are understanding, there are still some negotiation going on with landowners. So I honestly don't think that that area has been fully concluded as yet. They have an idea of the area that they would like to develop, but I don't believe that they have all of the lands that they would like to have as yet. I think Roger would have indicated that based on the last town hall, I believe that they were up to 60-something% of the land that they are really after. So that is where it's at.
So at this point, you guys are saying that nothing has been signed.
That's correct.
You don't know where the zone is going to be.
We have a proposed area that they would like to have as the zone. But I am saying to you that all of those negotiations, all of the agreement with landowners have not been concluded as
Okay,
yet.
let's see if I can help. So if they do not get the desired area,
Yes.
then what?
I guess they would have to go back and redesign.
Well, based on that question, you said earlier they are getting lands, other areas on Nevis. Walk with me.
Yes.
Walk with me. So if they have to go back and redesign, right, can that include those other areas that they're getting lands?
No.
That no was sharp, but isn't it true that other zones can be applied for on Nevis?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why the no was so sharp? Because if you don't get that desired area,
In that particular area.
yes, can you not apply for another area where you have now gotten more land?
Theoretically, yes, you can. Yes.
But practically?
Practically, I don't know if it would make sense, because they will have.
What do you mean it wouldn't make sense?
But I think that they would have to put in all of the infrastructure all over again.
No, but this thing is lucrative, isn't it?
But Webbo, if you have 2,000 acres in one area, and you have, let's say, for example, another 1,500 acres in another area, all of the requirements in each of those zones will have to meet the threshold.
Yeah, but if you have 2,000 acres in one area,
yes,
and it costs $20 million or $20 billion to develop, right? And then all of a sudden you're only doing 1,000. It wouldn't cost the same 20 billion. Walk with me.
No, it shouldn't.
Okay. So, you know. So the truth is that they can apply elsewhere where they have the land.
For a separate zone.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Caller, go ahead.
One of the things that I personally find confusing is that the ads also they're not consistent. So, and Mr. Willie, I think the caller that called in before me alluded to it, that it's supposed to be a place where persons are going to be living more. And at one point, I thought we heard that there were going to be hotels over there. So, what is it really, and how much access would Nevisians have to that zone once that zone is put in place? Because jobs are being advertised right now. What the jobs are, I don't know. But jobs are being advertised right now. What are people supposed to be applying for? That's one of the questions. What exactly is going to be happening over there?
A caller.
The other question. And that's why people, there's a lot of hesitancy about this, because the information coming out is quite confusing, to be honest with you. People are not understanding what exactly is going to be happening. A young lady called in earlier, and she had some brilliant ideas about what Nivisions can do over there. But how do Nivisions get themselves ready for this if we're not sure what exactly is going to be happening over there?
Yes. Mr. Brand.
Yes.
As I'm listening to the varied inputs.
Yes.
And having been working with this project over a period of time, and based on the last comment the caller just made, do we get the impression that somebody, I don't know who it is, ought to keep working and do a better job of communicating and effective communication?
I would agree with that, Webbo. Let me see if I can help the caller a bit, because the caller said that she's a little confused whether it's going to be, she's hearing about hotel and she's hearing about people is going to be living over there. I want the caller to take a step back and look at Four Seasons. I think that is a fair enough example that we can turn to. Four Seasons is a hotel, and Four Seasons also have some villas / residences as part of their property. So even though that it is a 5-star, 6-star hotel, as part of that makeup is also some villas, what they would call residences. And I would say to you that there have been some significant sums of money spent on building some of those villas. Some of the numbers that I've been hearing for construction of some of those villas are mind-boggling, right?
Okay, just let me take this, Mr. Brand. Good evening. I'll call. I'm sorry about that. Please call back. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Hi. Good evening. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have been listening to the program for the whole night, okay? And I think every caller tonight have a very valid point, because development of a special zone in Nevis can be very profitable to the Federation. And the outcome really depends on careful planning and effective governance, because it will create jobs and benefit the wider economy beyond the zone itself. So I think everybody tonight have a point. Okay? Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Just let me take this call. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Hello, good evening. Yes, Mavis again. There is something that I want to be on the table for us. Nevis is very small. So I don't think that we should go outside of having more than one zone for our 36 square miles that we do own. So I think that our government should only have one zone. It's out there and nowhere else at all. That's how I feel about it in that regard. The next part of it now is that I would want to know that we have a consultant representing us who is very knowledgeable about investing, negotiating with billionaires, a savvy lawyer to protect our interests. I don't care. We need to address that elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that we're not going to get rid of racism, colorism, econism. Whereas you think you have more money and you're going to be at the top of the food chain and I at the bottom. Some of us, it is going to be there. Those prejudices are going to be there. We are not going to have everybody coming in all lily white and embracing everybody.
Okay, so I got that, Mr. Brand. That's a very interesting point. Who's representing us as
At the table.
at the table? I think that's a short question.
Well, it's a valid question. We have been dissecting the various documents that has been presented by the developers, and that is where it's at this moment in terms of dissecting it.
Right, but she said that we ought to have some consultants
Yes.
who have expertise dealing with these people, etc., etc. Are you suggesting that we, meaning the cabinet, has been doing it, and then later on we will get those experts
One of
to work on our behalf?
Yes, go ahead. One of the things, Webbo, that the Premier has given his assurance for in the Act, there is the requirement for a committee.
No, anyway, let me take this. Good evening, thank you for Good evening, thank you for holding. Good evening, thank you for holding. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah, this is our patrimony, Webbo.
Yes.
And this is our land. And the people need got to defend the land. Because I remember some time ago, after a song in Antigua, the black politicians sell out the black birthright. And these things we don't want to happen. We got to educate the people and towards these things. You know, young generation coming, young man just coming from university. That's what I'm trying to say. Suppose they want to go to some kind of big development in Nevis. They want to open up a hotel, they want to do something, they want to do something for the people. Suppose livestock farmers want to farm, big farming. You know, we land, we're supposed to defend our land. We land to feed us. We don't want a pandemic again to shut down the world. You understand?
Oh,
these things that we got to educate our people about and just bring in people about investors. You see a lot of a failed project down here. If you're going to think it, you see a lot of failed project. We do under the CBI program. Right? And these things the people supposed to bother. We ain't supposed to put these things in politics. We're supposed to get rid of the blind politics and think about the country. Whether they're wrong or they're right or they're doing something good for the country. You understand? Okay, Webbo, you have a wonderful night. May God bless and keep you really good night. Morning, good night over in Gingerland.
Okay.
All
right, thank you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a few calls, and then the remaining minutes, I'm going to let the panel.
Well, I wanted.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to ask the caller if he is aware that those lands that we are talking about is owned by private individuals. Privately owned.
No, the caller is gone.
Okay.
That caller is gone.
Right.
I'm going to go to the next caller. Good evening. Thank you for holding. You have a half a minute.
Webbo, good night again. Webbo,
Good night.
I am convinced that these settlers that they want to bring in this country, all this business about destiny and this and that is just for those people's benefit. They don't care about Nevis and division. They're not of us. They have citizenship by economic citizenship or whatever. We are born and bred division here in this country, and we want our land for our children. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Let's do this. Fifield, then Naya, then Brand.
Yeah. Webbo, one of the questions I want to ask Webbo at this point in time. We were happy some years ago when the CBI monies were rolling in.
Walk with me. When I say the three of you, I mean short, and then we go back to the lines. So, you can make the point, but just edit it.
Okay, thanks. Webbo, should we stop selling the citizen by the economic citizenship program? Should we abandon it? And should we repeal or recall those persons who would have bought, and what would become of them?
Naya.
One question I want to ask, Mr. Van, sorry, I've been asking you a lot of questions. Just one question. The fact that you have agreed with me by saying that no zone can be established in St. Kitts or Nevis without the endorsement of the Prime Minister. So is it correct in some way for me to say that yes, you have given through this legislation authority over great portions of land to the Prime Minister?
No.
Brian, your turn.
I want Webbo to respond to, I think it might have been 2 or 3 callers ago. She asked about what are the people going to apply for. That they are talking about persons applying for jobs, and she wanted to know what would they be applying for. I believe, Webbo, that the idea is that the developer created a mechanism to try and gauge from the persons here on the island of Nevis as to what are the type of services that are available here on the island of Nevis. And I think that that would give them, in my mind, the kind of database, so to speak, that if they need contractors, if they need doctors, nurses, whatever, once you go onto their website and you apply for, or you basically say the kind of areas that you are interested in, I think that is what that information gathering is for.
Okay, let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding. You have half a minute.
Yeah, good evening. Webbo?
Yes, you're on the air. You have a half a minute.
Yeah, good evening. I wanted to ask Mr. Brand a question, and it happens so that he made a comment a while ago talking about private land. Is that so right, Mr. Brand?
Yes, sir.
What I am wondering, there's a lot of things that concern me with this whole destiny. One of the things that I am more concerned about, okay, if the project was to go forward and it should be good for Nevis, wouldn't it be better for the landowners to be able to get the land, put like everybody come together within a block, like I may have a piece, you may have a piece, come together within a block and have the land lease instead of parting ways with your land. Land don't rot, the value of land always increase. Why should they have to sell the land? If it's just a good project, it's going to benefit Nevisians and benefit the economy, why can't Nevis people who own the land get piece of the pie? That was what I'm wondering. And Mark Rantley, as the Premier, he's supposed to be in the vanguard, looking out for Nevisians' interest. So I would expect, as a lawyer, he would be able to draft a bill that would put Nevis people right at the helm. Put them together, say, come here, I'll come together. You long brown, you got a piece. You live Quadico, you got a piece. Let's put together. And we get the land set up that these people lease it from them. And every year, every 5 years, every month, whatever, they'll be able to benefit some money coming in. Why then they have to go sell the land and then go over to Destiny? I might have a piece and got to sell it, and then my children go over Destiny, go cut grass, go make a bed.
Okay, caller, we got you.
Why should it be that way?
Yeah, we got you. Mr. Brand, you want to address that?
Well, caller, I hear you. I believe that the developers chose the model that they have chosen in terms of trying to purchase their land. I don't believe that they would have sought to get into any lease arrangement. I believe that their model was to try and purchase the land. I hear you. I think it's a valid point. I think that it is something that perhaps they did not consider. And you are correct that if a lease agreement were to enter into with the landowners, of course, that would have been a lease agreement for generation and generations to come. So I hear you, but I think that was just the model that the developers sought to engage in to try and purchase the lands out there.
Which is fair, right? I mean, if you're doing something, you're going to put your proposal to me.
Yeah.
And then I have a counter proposal.
Yeah.
So I think that's perhaps what the caller is suggesting. Maybe a counter proposal. Roger, go ahead.
Yeah. Webbo, there's also choice, you know. If the landowners, they may, at least a landowner would have said that he didn't sell, so there's choice. And landowners who said that they would have wanted to lease in any event, and they would not have wanted the liquid cash.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for. I'm sorry about that. Good evening. You have a half a minute. Could you go ahead?
Hello, good evening. This is why I said we want somebody reputable at the table for us. If all the landowners over there decide they're not selling and they move on to another phase of it, do you want to be in Nevis or will you take your money and go someplace else? Because it's demand and supply. But if you don't care to their demands, this is what negotiating at the big table is about. I mean, have to have somebody
all right, caller.
doing it.
Okay. Mr. Brand, let me ask you this.
Yes.
As this debate and project is being unfolded, based on your feedback so far, you get the feeling that it's important to continue the debate?
Absolutely, Webbo. I think it's a good debate. It's a fair debate. It's a very intense debate, and I believe that we owe it to our people to definitely continue that debate.
Some concerns have been expressed that perhaps, just perhaps, concerns been expressed that the administration may not be taking the view seriously. Is that correct?
No, Webbo, because where I sit, we every week we look at the various we look at the various engagements that we have had with the public, and we have had engagement with the chamber, the church, six farmers. We had one with.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
People's concern have been taken into consideration.
We have been listening and looking at those. Yes.
Okay. Let me. Good evening. You have half a minute. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Livingstone Williams here again. Now, you see what I am talking about? Our Premier said that they told the investors to buy, lease, or whatever to get the lands. But now Mr. Brand is saying tonight that the investors want to do their own thing. So, Mr. Brand.
No, caller.
What is it?
Caller. I never said that.
Let Mr. Brand, let the caller finish, and then you'll answer. Go ahead, caller.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert. Mr. Brand, our Premier said that the people should either buy, they told them either buy or lease.
And
you are now saying that it seems like they don't want to lease, which is what I've been saying all along, that they categorically refuse to enter any conversation in reference to leasing.
But caller, if you listen to what I said that the developers have chosen the option of purchasing the lands outright. That was what I said.
So, in other words, they're running things then.
If they are running things? How do you mean if they are running things?
Well, but that's what you just said, because I just told you the Premier said that they asked the developers to acquire the land either by purchasing or leasing. And you are saying that they have chosen to buy. So that means they're running things.
That is the option that they have taken.
No, okay. So in other words, they are running things. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, so let me do this. A half a minute each, beginning with Roger. And then Naya, Mr. Brand, you'll have the last word.
Thank you.
You want to do it the next way?
No, I'll take the last one.
All right.
Thank you, Webbo. And the last point that the caller made, I think that someone is being confused. Because if I have an option, then I choose which option that I want. Whether I want to buy a car or I buy a bicycle, and I choose to buy a car, and then that's my option. That's my choice. Because I was given a choice.
Naya.
Well, the bylaws the bylaws of the zone will be ratified by the island administration and by the federal administration, and if all is well from their point of view, then it's going to become part of the volume of laws we have here in St. Kitts Nevis, and that's quite an unusual thing as it relates to that type of investment of settlements or investment.
As you use the language bylaws, the bylaws will be only confined to the sustainability zone that the developers are applying for.
Yes, yes, and that's why it sounds as if that it's going to be a state within a state. Because, for instance, a bylaw can be what, anything. Okay.
Every company within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis
Yes.
are mandated to have bylaws.
Okay, but are they? Every company bylaws will become part of the volume of laws,
No,
but the zone bylaws will be.
but every company bylaws fall within the ambit of the company registration legislation within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
But the truth is, you don't have to have a special parliament to pass those company bylaws that fit under that. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the last word. This is Thought That Get Results. Thank you all for joining us this evening. This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Join Keith Scarborough on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock for Government at Work. A place where you can spend all of your evenings right here on the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, Thought That Get Results. You all have a wonderful evening.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the